And then it was pretty traumatic because like I broke 2 teeth. Like my face was like not good. But I remember when I landed on my face, my dad has always told me like if you're going to buy gear, he's always kind of emphasized buying the best because your life depends on it. And so even when I'm doing mountaineering, I always buy the best quality because usually like it's the price is also based on like the R&D and like what goes into developing like high quality products because it can save your life. I spent 22.5K. I will not be shopping for two years. This is what I tell all my friends.
Why the Scope wheels? Surely there are lighter options out there. Is it hard to conquer this aero bike? They say that it's very stiff, you need more power to power it up. Okay, what's the difference between getting the Pinarello from CycleWorks versus importing it from other countries, like a parallel import? Why the 2023 model and not the previous generation? Seems like all the frames are the same. Welcome, Jen, to the show. Very happy to have another female rider. Everyone has been complaining that can you get more female riders on the show? All you have is all guys. So thank you so much for coming. I messaged you on Instagram. I'm like, Jen, would you be interested to come onto my show? And I was expecting that you wouldn't reply, but you replied. So thank you so much for coming. And Jen is a COVID cyclist, but she's pretty strong. You came back from a race, right?
Yeah, I just came back from a 10-stage race in Vietnam for the Biwase Cup.
Right. Before we even go there, we have a lot to talk about, a lot to cover. Just like all my other episodes, I would just like to get to know you a little bit better. If you could just tell us about yourself.
Okay, so when it comes to cycling, I started roughly maybe just under 2 years ago. And I guess what is there to share other than like I really like Pinarellos, I really like training.
Yeah.
It's something that I find is a great way for me to, I don't know, it's like therapy, I guess.
Yeah.
Because I have a really tough job. I work full time. And I think what I learn about myself on the bike, I transfer to like, every other area of my life, I guess.
Yeah.
And then I think vice versa, like everything that I learn at work and all the hardships that I've been through, it also helps me to be pretty resilient on the bike as well. So I think that's probably one of the reasons why I'm a pretty strong rider is because of, just having a lot of life experience and yeah.
And you said that cycling is not actually your main hobby. You are a skier.
Yeah, actually, I really, really love skiing. I have. It's kind of hard to ski in Singapore, and so one of the
It's impossible.
So I really love the speed, and I always tell my friends like the reason why I really like cycling is because it reminds me of skiing.
But it's very different.
It's different, but the sensation that I get in terms of just the high speed and because I'm doing downhill skiing, and I love steep and deep, like deep powder and just going really, really fast.
Yeah.
And then you get to do that on the pavement, and you don't have to wait for a chairlift.
Yeah.
Or skinning. Like I also will hike up mountains to ski. So I take my skis but that's a totally different topic.
Yeah, but I mean, obviously now we are in Singapore, you don't get a chance to do that. So cycling kind of replaces that for you, or do you still ski?
I still ski, but I think right now I'm kind of focused on training. Every day that I'm not on the bike, that there's an impact on my performance and my fitness. So I'm kind of taking a little bit of a break from skiing to focus on cycling.
Yeah. So how would you tell me? Are you someone who is very athletic from the start, or did it only come because of COVID that you picked up cycling? I mean, obviously you started skiing.
Yeah, so I think I've always been pretty athletic. I've always had an interest in sports. I think it's something, I don't know, I guess I have always watched my parents, like my dad particularly, playing tennis. So I grew up playing tennis. I grew up running. I was quite a good runner, and I competed in middle school, high school. And I wanted to be a college athlete, but unfortunately I was good academically, but I got into a Division I school, but I was not Division I for athletics.
Yeah.
So, I kind of had to put that dream on pause, but I still kept running. Even if I couldn't run in college on a team, like I still kept running. And in Singapore during lockdown, I was running a lot, and then I got injured. I think it was like overtraining. So then obviously like with my knees, like I couldn't really run. So then I started to ride a bike. And the first bike that I was riding was actually a beach cruiser.
A beach cruiser.
Yeah,
what's
it's
that?
like one of those like
Oh, okay,
big,
I know. Yeah.
really Instagrammable, cute steel bikes.
Does it have
like
a basket in
It
front?
had a basket.
Okay.
It had a
It's very
basket.
useful, right?
Yeah, it's great. And super cute. And then I would just ride because, again, it was very therapeutic and I just kind of needed to get outside. That's what I love about running. I used to run for like hours. So when I was riding on East Coast Park, and then one day one of my friends, John, he was like, hey, why don't you come join me and a group of friends? So it was like an evening ride. And I was like, oh, I don't have one of those fancy bikes. Are you sure it's okay if I come? And he's like, yeah, just come. And so then I'm taking like the beach cruiser. I'm riding with my friend and his friends.
And your friends are like road cyclists.
They have like Cervelos and all these like
Okay.
nice bikes. I had ridden like a Cervelo once, like many, many years ago, from a different friend, but I just knew that they were really nice and expensive and very fast. And so I was like, oh, I don't know if I should, but I'll just try. So then I went, and then I was keeping up with them.
On a
And
beach cruiser.
On a beach cruiser, it was just like, because I have like strong legs from running, I have a good endurance base. So then I was like, you know what, maybe I should think about getting a bike, and I like a real road bike because this is kind of fun. And so then I talked to my friend, and I ended up buying my first carbon bike, which was Specialized Tarmac Cell 6. It's a comp manual. And so that was like the beginning of kind of like my cycling journey.
Right.
But that journey with that bike didn't last very long because I was on TMCR, was riding with a group of friends, and then there was a crash. It was really bad. So there was a cyclist in front of me that went down, and then I got taken down. And then it was pretty traumatic because like I broke 2 teeth. Like my face was like not good. But I remember when I landed on my face, I asked John, I was like, first question. Well, first I was like, am I okay? And then the second question was like, is my bike okay?
Oh, you got it wrong. So normally when I crash, the first question is my bike okay? Not whether I'm okay.
I think, I think I had asked that because I could feel in my mouth like there was a gap, like where my teeth are, and there was a big hole.
I'm assuming you probably don't remember what happened. Like the only thing you remember is like, you're on the ground.
Yeah, I
and
mean, it's just, and then, I'm just like, I can feel my face, and that I know that there's blood, which is why I'm like, am I okay? Like, and I think later on it was really funny because he was like, actually, I couldn't understand anything you were saying. So I guess I was not very comprehensible, but in my mind I was.
Yeah.
But he was kind of, he would just nodded his head and he was like, yeah. But that was like the start of cycling. So I started, and then I had to take a lot of time off because obviously I was trying to recover. But I knew I liked cycling because it didn't stop me from continuing. And I think I was lucky enough to have a very supportive community that kind of helped me build my confidence up. But, it was also a reason why I didn't do a lot of big bunch rides in the beginning because it's just really scared. Like when you're following people and they're not steady or they don't call out holes, like given I had such a bad injury at the beginning, like I'm a very defensive cyclist. Like my style of riding is very defensive. Like I don't chase like segments. I don't it's for me safety above all the other things. So
Has it changed, or is it still the same?
it's still the same because like I think there are other cyclists out there. I think that like they don't want to break. They'll take a lot more riskier moves, but I rather train my power and like make it up for whatever. If there's a gap, then I'll close it. I feel pretty confident that I can get stronger and stronger. but I don't want to put myself in a situation where I make the wrong call. Like if I'm on the road, like I'm gonna look for, hey, is there like a car coming?
Yeah.
Or just common sense for me, I guess.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I'm gonna rewind a little bit. So you started off with the beach cruiser with your
Yes.
friends. That's how this whole fiasco happened. I just want to say because one of my office colleagues, I told him I'm a cyclist and everything. I'm like, hey, do you want to come and join us? And he was like, no, you guys are on very expensive bikes, road tires, road wheels. You're cruising at 35. I only have this very cheap bike. How am I going to keep up with you? So I'm like, you know what? Just come and join us, right? And then maybe you'll develop into something different, and you might
Yeah.
end up getting a road bike.
Yeah.
So we, the first bike was a Specialized SL6.
Yes.
It was like, was it like broken into half after the crash, or?
No, it was actually fine because I flew off the bike, and because I basically hit, like, was right behind the guy that went down. So I was not okay necessarily.
Yeah.
But the bike was fine.
So this is the third bike that you own.
This is the third. Well, I guess it's the fourth bike because if you count the
Beach
beach cruiser,
Do you still have that bike?
I still do. Yeah.
Okay.
It literally has a basket.
So back to the SL7. Why
SL6.
SL6, sorry.
Yeah.
Why the SL6? And I mean, you're not into cycling at that point of time. How did you know that? What brands were out there? What group sets you
it's
wanted?
not. It wasn't an S-Works. It was just a specialized
Com,
SL6.
right?
Yeah.
Yeah. So yeah, how did you know that you wanted a SL6, or why not any other brands?
Well, I knew that I was a little bit sketched out about buying a carbon bike that was used because I heard the horrible stories of like, hey, you don't know what happened to it. If there's a hairline crack, like, and something happens, then if the bike breaks, it could impale you. It's really dangerous. So I knew, okay, well, maybe what would be better is for me to just buy like, like something that I can afford, that's newer. And so, and I think at that time during COVID, it was just really hard to get bikes too. Like everything was super overpriced, even if it was used. And so it happened to be that on Specialized, the website, like there was stock available. So I was like, okay, let's just do this. So I bought that. And I think I had seen a lot of Specialized bikes around, and a bunch of my friends had the S-Works SL7. So I was like, why not?
But in terms of sizing, how did you know which was the size for you? Did you go for a bike fit?
I went to the Specialized store, and then I had looked for a bike there. I don't think they had it in my size, and so I just tried to make sure that I got what they recommended.
And was it the right size for you when you got SL6? Too big, too small, or just right?
I think it was the right size-ish. Like I didn't have that bike I had it for less than 3 months. So I don't remember a ton. I don't think I even had it long enough for me to go for a proper bike fit.
Yeah. And when you got the Dogma F, you knew what was your size already?
For the F12, I had looked, okay, so I'm really big on high seat posts. So if I got a bigger bike, then it would be
gonna
lower.
be very low.
Yeah. So then
It looks like crap.
yeah, it doesn't look as sexy.
Yeah.
So I looked at different options. I talked to my friends. My friends gave me a lot of advice on bikes. So that's how I came to the bike size that was right for me. So I think a lot of it is just about trusting and seeking out help from people that know more than I do.
Yeah. And tell us what happened and how did he become a Dogma F?
So the F12 is rim, and it's a great bike. I still really, really love that bike. I feel like it's kind of like my first love. But given that I'm riding pretty tough terrain in Thailand for the Master Tour Chiang Mai, I remember going into that race and being one of the few people, I think at the time, that was on rim. Everybody else is on disc, and it's rainy, and then the downhill descents are kind of sketch.
Yeah.
So I just thought, okay, if I want to take this seriously, I really should try to. Actually, it was Uncle Kenneth. Uncle Kenneth was like, hey, if you really want to take this seriously, you really need to consider getting a disc
Yeah.
because one, it's like going to be harder and harder for me to get components for rim, and then two, it's just a lot safer in terms of braking, and
Yeah.
mentally I'm going to feel a lot better.
But your SL6, was it in rim or disc?
It was also rim.
Rim. So rim,
Oh no, sorry, actually,
disc.
it was disc.
Wow.
I remember because I had bought the hyper disc wheels,
Mm.
and because at the time I was thinking, okay, let me optimize for safety first.
Mm.
So I was like, okay, let's do the disc, but it was so noisy. I
Was
remember.
it squealing?
Oh, I would just remember like going. It's like the horn noise, like
Yeah. Yeah.
we
When
would,
it rains, right?
when it rains and we're riding as a group, it's just so so noisy
Mm.
that I thought, okay, well, for if I was going to get a new bike, yeah, why not get something that so yeah, just I just didn't like rim at the time, or I didn't like disc at the
Disc.
time.
But
It's
when-
just really hard to take care of as well. Like I had to buy a separate cover. It just felt like, hey, I don't know if I can really take care of the bike very well.
Mm.
I think over time I've gotten a little bit more confident,
Mm.
but I think at the very beginning, like the rim, it just seems a lot easier to take care of. So
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah.
Wow. Disc, rim, and then back to disc.
yeah, yeah. I had to
would-
change all my wheels. Wheels are so expensive.
I know, right? Would you say then discs are just much more superior than rim, and
No,
is rim dead?
No, I don't think I would say that because I still really like riding rim. Like if I was going to travel around, I don't love having my bike, knowing how people handle it, like with the airlines. Like if I'm just going to go to KL or if I'm going to go to Jakarta and just ride flat roads, because I have to travel a lot for work, I would rather take my rim bike and just feel like, hey, it's still a fast bike.
Mm.
F12 is still a great bike.
Yeah.
I think it's lighter. Also, I remember having conversations with my coaches, and a lot of them are saying, like, I could still race with rim brake if I really wanted to, because there's professionals that do that. But I think just for my own mental, like, kind of confidence, like, I wanted to switch to disc. But I would not say that it's superior. I think there are a lot of people that are great riders and your bike handling is amazing. Like disc rim, I don't think it really can.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But when you were at the race, would you say most of the guys there were on disc, rim, just a mixture of both?
Yeah. So I definitely felt okay. So when the coaches sent out the request for, hey, send your information for Biwase, like, hey, send your information about the bike that you have, like disc, rim, like just, yeah. I was the only person on rim.
Mm.
And I definitely felt like, okay, rim was like 11 speed as well. And so it just happened to be that the new bike had come in and it was ready, because part of it is like allocation, like getting the bike that you want, the color that you want, the size that you want. So thankfully I was able to get the bike before Biwase, and so I was then able to text back the group and say, like, hey, actually I'm now on
Yeah.
disc, so like the entire team is on disc.
Yeah. And tell us about the riding performance of riding the Pinarello Dogma F12 against the Specialized SL6.
It was a huge difference. Like when I was riding the SL6, the Specialized SL6, I remember on Monday I would dread the traffic light because if I have to stop and I have to start pedaling, the rest of the guys they've taken off.
Yeah.
And so the biggest difference that I noticed from the F12 to the Specialized SL6 was just how fast it is right at the light. You're gone.
Yeah. Wow. Okay. And in terms of maintaining top speed,
For the F12,
yeah,
I had no issues. Like it was
was it much
super
faster
fast.
than the SL6?
Of course. Like it was, yeah.
So would you say that the Pinarellos are already at the top of the line bikes that you can get, or do you think there's other bikes that are much more superior? Are you looking at anything else?
I think I'm very biased. Like don't think I look at other bikes. Like I feel very content with my Pinarello, so I don't think I'm the best person
Yeah.
to answer the question.
Okay.
Yeah.
And from the F12, well, we've already spoken so much, but we haven't got onto the bike, the main highlight. So this is a Dogma F. Why did you get a Dogma F when you had the F12?
Because I think when, again, for safety reasons, like, again, I could still race with the rim, but I think for the descents, I really want to make sure that for braking, I just feel more secure. So that's really a big part of it. And then also just getting components, I feel like it's going to get harder and harder for rim. So that's like the big difference. And also, everyone was telling me how much faster the F is, and yeah, I'm glad I made the switch though. 'Cause
Okay.
it does. I can't tell if it's my wallet kind of justifying itself for how much I spent on that.
How much is this?
I spent 22.5K. I will not be shopping for 2 years. This is what I tell all my friends. But you know, for me, I justify how expensive it is because for me, I ride it so much every day. It brings me a lot of joy. And for me, if I'm going to train, if I'm going to ride the bike a lot, then I want to ride what I want to ride. And so that's why I wanted to make the switch. But it does feel really fast.
What do your friends who are not who are not into cycling, and you tell them that my bike costs $22,000?
I try not to tell. I mean, this is probably the only forum that I've
Yeah.
actually really talked about price in general. I'm pretty quiet about like how much I spent on the bike, but given like the, you know,
Yeah.
very transparent about how much bikes cost on the show. So, but yeah, people don't understand how much I spent on it. They just know that looks like a really expensive bike. And if I go on a grab and like the driver like picks up my bike, he's like, "Wow, this bike is really light." I'm like, "Yup."
Do they ever ask you how much is it?
They do.
And you just tell them it's $2,000.
No, I just try to shy away from the topic because it's kind of embarrassing. Because I'm like, wow, man,
So I
spent a
normally
lot.
get that question as well. So when I get a flat and I can't replace my tires, I get a grab bag, right? And then the uncle will be like, "Wow, very expensive bike. How much is it?" And I'll be like, it's only $2,000. Can you imagine if I told him it's like $20,000? He would freak out, man. Yeah. I mean, we cyclists just spend way too much money on our bikes, right?
Yeah, I feel like. But the thing is, I don't spend on other things. You know, I try not. I try to live pretty like within my means. Like even for coffee, like I try not to indulge in like $7 coffees too much. Like I really like the $1.70 kopi from my Newton kopi auntie.
Yeah.
So I think that's kind of how I justify it as well. So like, okay, I don't spend a lot in other areas. I'm not huge into shopping. I don't like buying bags or like fashion stuff.
Yeah.
But my dad has always told me like if you're going to buy gear, he's always kind of emphasized buying the best because your life depends on it. And so even when I'm doing mountaineering, I always buy the best quality because usually like it's the price is also based on like the R&D and like what goes into developing like high quality products because it can save your life.
Wow. Well said. My wife is behind, so I hope I can get her to convince her to buy me get another bike from her. Okay, so let's go on to the bike. This is a Dogma F. If you could just give us a quick run through of what kind of components that you have on here.
Sure. So with the Dogma F, I have Dura Ace. I have 12. It's 12 speed, so it's like the newest, the latest. I have my Garmin Rally power pedals on it. That's actually the same pedals I had from my previous bike. I love my saddle. I have the Specialized Power Mirror saddle, which I swear by because before I used to get a lot of saddle sores, and given how much time I spend training, for me it's made a huge difference. And then for I think everything else is kind of just
Pretty stock.
yeah.
Right. And what size is this? This
46.5.
46.
High seat post.
High seat post, that's right. And a low stack. Do you have any spacers on the front?
No.
Wow. And you just like told the guys like, okay, you know what, slam the stem, or did you
No,
progressively
actually,
go
this
down?
I progressively went down. This is actually my second bike fit, so it recently changed. So it's kind of amazing because my bike fitter was like, "Okay, yeah, we're gonna have to adjust the bike to increase the seat post height
Mm.
and then lower the stem."
Yeah. And which bike fitter do you go to?
I go to Louis Bicycles.
Oh, okay. How would you rate him?
I think he's amazing.
Mm.
Yeah.
How's the bike fitting process like?
Well, I feel like Uncle Kenneth was like, I'm not building your bike until you get your bike fit. So part of it is like, one, actually getting the appointment is really tough because he's, I think, very popular. But I think the reason why he's so popular is because he is just knows, he's like, I feel like he is just so knowledgeable.
Mm.
And like, I'll give you an example. For like my shoes, I have like weird shaped feet, and so I've been having a lot of pain. And then instantly he knew, okay, like we need to like make some incisions on like two places, and after that it stopped hurting.
Mm.
So, so it's like it's very comprehensive. You for the bike fit, like he puts these like little stickers on you, and then yeah, like there's just it seems very technical, but
Were there a lot of changes that were made?
from my previous, because he did the fit for my F12, I think that fit probably took a little bit longer, and then the second one is more of an adjustment, so it didn't take as much time.
Okay.
So pretty smooth.
Right. And you went for 2 bike fits,
So the first fit was for my F12,
and then this for this one.
and then this one was like kind of like the adjustment, because the bike fit for the first time I did it for the F12, I was still relatively new. So I think that was like probably like June or July. So I hadn't been riding for that long, and then obviously I've been training a lot more since then.
Yeah.
So I had to make adjustments. Like I actually changed the crank length. So for the F12 it was 170,
That's quite
and now
long.
I'm 165.
Yeah, just
which
like
is the
me.
same as like my TT bike. Oh, actually I
You
have
have
another
a TT
bike.
bike. What?
I have a TT bike. So that because I do really love doing the time trial. So I love doing the individual time trial. So
We've spoken about the timeline of your bike. So when did you get the TT bike?
the TT bike I think I got it like maybe November. So maybe I got like 6 or 8 months later.
Okay.
I knew I wanted to do the individual time trial, and I remember taking the Bianchi to San Francisco because I wanted to learn how to ride on the skis.
Okay. Okay.
And I learned how to do that while I was riding in San Francisco or in the Bay Area.
Right. And so okay. So many questions. So back just on the on the frame. So these are Scope wheels.
Yes.
You said it's a Dutch company.
Yes.
And it came stock with the frame, with the whole bike, or did you specifically wanted Scope wheels?
So I had a couple different options, but I think based on the feedback that I got, and obviously I'm looking for really fast wheels, and I felt like the reviews from friends they're very fast. Before I was on Hypers, so for my F12 I have, my complete set is all Hypers, and so this was my first time changing to Scopes, and they're fast.
Pretty good.
Yeah.
Right. And Dura Ace 12 speed. Do we all need 12 speed or 11 speed is sufficient?
I think it really depends on like what you're trying to get from riding. For me, because I'm racing, it's to me it makes a difference.
Do you find it much smoother in terms of shifting gears?
So far, I think so. I just feel like everything is a lot smoother. I mean, I also have the bottom bracket is also ceramic speed, and it just feels. I remember the very first time I rode the F, I was like, "This is amazing! Like it's so smooth."
Yeah.
It's like buttery smooth.
Yeah.
Like I don't know. Again, I just felt like it was just significantly faster in my mind.
Yeah.
Probably in actuality, maybe it's like marginally faster, but again, to me, it's as long as I feel fast and I enjoy it, then
Yeah, actually, I always tell my friends who start off cycling that besides the frame and the wheels, a lot of people neglect the bottom bracket. Like the bottom bracket makes a lot of difference in terms of like what you just said, right? It's very smooth when you pedal.
yeah,
It's like
yeah,
buttery smooth, and
yeah.
I used to not look at that because like aesthetically you can see, right? It's in the frame
Oh,
and
mine's
stuff like
red.
that. Oh yeah, it is ceramic speed, right?
Yeah.
Did you pick the red one out, or you came with the bike?
No, I knew I wanted ceramic speed, and then Uncle Kenneth is actually quite fashionable.
Hmm.
I trusted him. He was like, I was like, oh, red or black, and then he was like, red. So then I decided to go for the red. You know, it's kind of nice to have a little pop of color too.
Yeah, yeah. Okay. And Garmin power meters, right?
Yes.
Garmin power meters are not very common in Singapore. A lot of people go for the Faveros, 4i. Why
Yeah.
did you go for Garmin?
So I liked how they had the, well, I'm on the Garmin ecosystem. So
Mm.
since my bike computer is also Garmin, I have a Garmin watch. And I use Garmin heart rate monitor. Like everything is Garmin. So to me, it kind of made sense that I use the pedals because it also gives you the information around how much time are you spending standing up versus sitting down, and then also like the left right ratio, like all that stuff was like I really like that with the Garmin.
Mm. Okay.
Yeah.
And when you race on your computer, what are you looking at?
When I'm racing,
Yeah.
I don't really look at the computer as much.
No time?
Unless like I'm doing an effort, like if I'm trying to monitor, like if I'm doing a breakaway and I'm at the front, like I'll glance down at my power. That's usually what I look at, or I'll check down once in a while, looking at how much distance we have.
Mm.
So I have a rough idea of like how much is left, so I can figure out how much more effort I can put in.
Yeah. And you mentioned you have a very demanding job and cycling. Now you race, right? So obviously you need to do a lot of training and put a lot of saddle time. How do you juggle between these two between
Well,
your job and cycling?
I think for me, like if I really care about my philosophy in life is that like if you care about something, like you will find a way and you will find time. It just means that there are other areas of your life that you have to sacrifice. So for me, like a lot of it comes down to like sacrificing like personal stuff. But in terms of work and training, like those are two are priority. And training, it happens in the morning, so it doesn't really interfere with work.
Yeah.
I use my annual leave to go for races, and then my bosses are pretty supportive.
Yeah.
So I just let them know in advance, like, hey, this is the period where I'll be out, and yeah, it hasn't been an issue. And I think again, we're all strong believers that having a strong passion outside of work is a really great way to have work-life balance because. Before, I think my identity was so built around work. If something bad happens at work, then you just feel really bad about yourself. Whereas now it's kind of like, okay, well, yeah, things might not be perfect or there might be some issues that come up. But I feel like I had a great ride this morning. And like you're starting from like a positive note, like I'm not going to let that thing bother me.
Yeah.
It also helps you prioritize your time. Like you're not going to allow yourself to get hung up on things when, both in cycling and with work, like you can have an identity elsewhere. So for me, it's like, okay, I had a bad day at work, but I still got to train tomorrow and I'm doing really well in my training. Some days it's the opposite. Some days it's like, oh man, I'm like not doing so well on the bike. But then I think about, okay, I have this great job, I have this great team, I'm leading a great team, I have people that really look up to me, and I think I'm a great boss and manager and colleague. So I'm like, okay, things are not so bad.
Right. Do you have a coach for cycling?
Yes.
Okay. And talk us through your training schedule. How does it work?
So I train, really depends, like in terms of hours, depending on what we're training up to. So it can range from like 10 to 20. And a lot of my training right now is zone 2 training. So I do a lot of base work and then I do some intervals. But I think for the last 4 or 5 months, it's been a lot of volume.
Okay.
Yeah.
So how much distance do you cover in a week?
I don't really think about it from distance perspective. I think about it from hours. So yeah, I can range up to like 20 hours a week.
Okay, so by hours, not by distance.
Yeah, because I really, maybe it's because I'm so focused on getting the time in that I haven't really been tracking the mileage, but it can it can range. Like if you're on a fast ride,
Yeah.
you're clocking a lot of kilometers. But if you're doing like a slow zone 2, mileage won't be as high, but the hours are probably higher.
Yeah. Very remarkable experience, right? Beach cruiser, 2 years, COVID cyclist, now into racing, even having a cycling coach. Hats off to you. Before we go into the IG questions, we are already at 34 minutes in. Give us a wrap up about your bike in terms of performance. Maybe there are some people who are watching there looking to upgrade to a Dogma F. Maybe they are they're riding the F12. Should they make the upgrade?
Again, like the F12 is a great bike. I still have mine, and I think if you want it, if your priority is around racing and you need a high performance bike, then I think definitely upgrading to the F is a great option. But the F12 is just is fast. At the end of the day, I think it's not just the bike, it's the rider too. But I also believe that if it's going to make you happy, I mean, for me, like I work from home, I work from home sometimes, and my bike is sitting right next to me, and I get to see it. And every time I glance over, I'm like, yeah, like life is pretty good. Like I have a beautiful bike that I love and adore, and so if it brings you joy, then why not make the switch?
So this morning when I was about to go out for a ride, I parked my bike in front of our room, my master bedroom. And my wife came out. I didn't expect her to wake up at 6 a.m. to say bye to me. When she opened the bike, I was like, shit, the bike is going to drop. And I literally dashed out from my couch to grab a bike. And she says this, why do you run so fast for your bike, man? If anything happens to me, you probably won't even run and catch me. So yeah, I think that explains everything about our bikes. Okay, so I think we'll move on. Okay, sorry, one more question. Are you going to make any more upgrades to the bike? And what is the one thing that you would change to the bike? Any upgrades, and will you change anything?
I feel like if I could change like all the bolts and stuff to titanium, I would.
Just to make it lighter?
Yeah.
We forgot about the weight. How much do you think this bike weighs? We'll probably weigh it later.
I think the last time I weighed it was like 7.49 or 7.59, I think.
Yeah. So titanium, you probably shed off 100 or 200 grams?
Maybe.
Yeah.
And then I think, I don't know, I think maybe for the pedals, if I decided to change it, like it's gone through a lot, it's taken a pretty big beating. So I think if I needed to change to upgrade the pedals, maybe I would do that. But in terms of the saddle, I think it would just be a replacement. It wouldn't be an upgrade. It would just be a replacement. Because again, it's been through a lot with me.
What about an OSPW? Ever thought of getting that?
Maybe, but again, I think it depends. I have to talk to more friends and see if it's actually really worth it. But
I would tell you that it's not. It's just aesthetic.
yeah.
Okay, cool.
But everything for me it's really about function. It's about But I'm joking kind of a little bit about the titanium because again, I feel like I gotta earn right. I mean, for training, I train with my training wheels. I don't even ride with my racing wheels because again, I need to.
And you said these are your training wheels, right?
Yes.
And the racing wheels are also scope.
Yes.
Okay. And the difference is?
These ones are slightly heavier, so I'll feel the difference when I'm racing.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. And what about shoes? What shoes do you wear?
I'm on the CD. I don't remember the model make of it, but it's. I wish I.
You have it? Are you gonna?
I have it in my bag.
Okay. Later when we film, and then I think we'll all have a look at it.
They're very dirty.
We'll make sure we wipe it down a little bit. Okay. My phone is over there, on the table. Do you want to get a drink first? We can just take a break and then we'll continue.
Okay.
So far, so good. We've probably got another half an hour to go through. This is the interesting part. I love this segment.
Okay.
All the questions that you can never imagine.
Oh, wow.
Okay, so let's start with the first one.
I feel like that would be, I'm surprised that you get some, because my name wasn't even on the thing, right? So.
Yeah, I posted a picture of your bike and we've got a couple of
Wow, that's
there.
a lot of questions.
Some might be very repetitive, but we'll just look for the interesting ones.
Okay.
We'll start off with the first one. Not too difficult, but the question is, why would you spend so much on a bike?
Because it makes me so happy. And again, like I really don't spend on a lot of other things, so for me, it's worth it. I also don't have a car,
Yeah.
and again, I train so much. I spend so much time on the saddle. So to me, it's about performance, and yeah, it just makes me so happy.
Did you go for a ride this morning?
I did.
Okay. Was it a long one?
I think it was about 100.
Oh my god, that's long. Okay. Next one. Do you still have your rim brake Pinarello?
Yes, I do.
I think this must be your friend. Are you going to give away that bike?
No, again, it's like my first love. I want to keep it, and I still want to ride it.
So when do you take that Pina F12 and F? Which one do you switch up?
I think if I travel, I want to be able to take. Again, if it's not a race, I want to be able to travel with my rim brake.
Okay. How do you travel, by the way, with a bike? Do you have what kind of bike bag do you have?
I use my friend's bike box. So a friend, like I live in a very small apartment, so I can't fit the bike box. So my friend's been very kind and lets me borrow it every time I have to travel for a race.
Okay, so you just have to remove the wheels, that's all, and just fit it in?
Yeah, it's amazing. It's the bike box Allen Easy Fit.
It's quite huge, right?
It is, but it's hard case, and I feel it keeps the bike pretty safe.
And
I've seen other people with other different bike bags, and
Yeah.
it doesn't. The bike sometimes have a lot of damage. So far, I have not had any issues with the bike box. It's very easy, very light. I still feel a little sketched out with the disc wheels, but with the rim, putting it in there, like
It's easy, right?
No issues.
Yeah, okay. How do you find the perfect frame size for your height?
I think again, you look at the inseam and you talk to people. You just talk to the experts and see what fits right for you. Some people want to be a little bit more stretched out. For me, actually like having a smaller frame because then I feel like it allows me the flexibility to do more things with it. But I think it's a lot of it is personal choice.
Okay. Why is everyone owning a Dogma F now? Is Dogma F the pinnacle of luxury?
I don't know. I mean, I guess Dogma Fs are popular. I do feel like I've been seeing I've seen a ton of white Dogma Fs.
In Singapore?
In Singapore, I feel like.
Where are you guys riding? I'm just telling you, I've never seen a lot of, either that or I'm just at home, I just don't ride it as much.
Yeah, maybe it's because I have one, and it's like when you own a car and
you see it all over the place.
see it all over.
Yeah.
But I've seen so many, but I noticed it more because I used to have I still have the white F12, and at that point there were very, very few white Pinarellos out, and so I think it's kind of nice now because then, yeah.
Okay. Why the scope wheels? Surely there are lighter options out there. Is weight a problem? Are you a weight weenie?
I mean, for me, again, it's about what talking to the people I trust and hearing the reviews and comparing it to other options. Like a lot of my friends have talked to me about getting Envies, but for the Envies, they require special brake pads. It was just a lot of work, and they're super expensive.
Okay. Rim versus disc. We've covered this. I'm gonna answer it for you. Disc,
Yeah.
right? Okay. Okay. Next question. Is it hard to conquer this aero bike? They say that it's very stiff. You need more power to power it up.
I personally haven't had any issues with it.
Okay. Wow, this question is very long and it's very small. I gotta enlarge this. Okay, what's the difference between getting the Pinarello from CycleWorks versus importing it from other countries, like a parallel import?
I think, well, I can't really speak on the parallel imports because I don't do that. For me, I think CycleWorks is a place that is super high quality, and if I have any issues with the bike, I know I can go to the shop and then they'll help me fix it. I've had no issues with servicing at all, whereas I feel like if I do a parallel import, I could probably go to some other stores for support, but I don't think I would get the same level of service that I get at CycleWorks. So for me, I'm willing to pay the premium for buying from CycleWorks.
Okay. Maybe last two questions. A lot of it is repetition. Ride feel of these wheels. How does it ride? I know you say it's fast, but is it comfortable? Do you feel any difference in that?
Sorry, what was the question?
What is the ride feel of
The ride feel.
Yeah.
I mean, it's super fast and smooth and super responsive. Like I definitely felt the difference. Like when I was in racing in Biwase, like I feel like I'm flying, especially on the descents, on the rollers. I felt super powerful. I'm able to take up position. I'm like in the middle of the peloton. I get to the front of the peloton. I think a lot of it is because I do have a super bike.
Okay.
Yeah.
Last question for the day. Is this a 2023 model?
Yes.
Why the 2023 model and not the previous generation? Seems like all the frames are the same. Are there any differences?
I don't-
Only the color scheme, right?
Yeah, I think so.
Okay.
Yeah.
And you just like the white one?
I really love white. I mean, that's my F12 was white, and I really love it. Like I love the color, like
Yeah.
especially when you're riding at night, like or not night, when you're riding super early in the morning in Singapore. It's super dark, and when you have a light colored bike, it's easy for people to see you.
Okay. How do you maintain your bike? That's the last question for me.
Oh, how do I maintain it?
Yeah.
Well, I always get scolded from Uncle Kenneth that I don't maintain it very well.
Do you bring it to the shop with a very dirty bike?
Like today, I brought it to the shop because I was having, he just does a better job of maintaining it. And then I think I had an issue. It's making a little bit of a noise. I'm a little bit like sensitive to noise on the bike because to me it signals, hey, I want to catch the problem early before it becomes a bigger issue. It turns out like it was just the rider's fault.
Okay, right.
But maintaining it, like again, I just try to use water. I use that pink stuff from Muck-Off.
Knockoff, yeah.
Yeah, I use that, and then I use a lot of baby wipes as well for the chain. If I'm super lazy, then
Yeah.
I just run it through. But I feel like learning how to maintain it better is something that's super high on my priority list.
Yeah.
Because again, it's like new and yeah, I want to keep the bike for a long time.
Are you running on wet lubricant or are you using wax?
Wax, yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Do you do your own waxing or the CycleWorks do it for you?
Sorry. I thought you meant like wax lube.
Yeah, wax and lube on the chain.
There's a wax lube, like Squirt.
Oh, wax lube. Yeah.
Yeah. That's what I use.
Okay. That's all the questions that I have, and thank you so much, Jen, for coming on today. We're not done yet. We've got to film you riding on the trailer and stuff, but I really appreciate you coming all the way here. It feels refreshing to finally have a female rider. All the guys that I filmed, they're all guys. I hope that you can channel some ladies onto the show.
Sure.
I'm pretty sure you know some very fast ladies out there. And round of applause to Jen.
Thank you.
Thank you, Jen.
Thanks so much for having me.
That's it.
Got drunk off your love, and I lost myself again. You hit just like a drug. This time I won't let you in. You're playing with fire. No, I didn't numb the pain, but this time I won't collide like I did yesterday. You broke my heart once again. I won't buy the dust in return. I can't give it.